Karen got drunk, abused bar staff, then called cops and got arrested herself. What happens when one woman's rage turns a quiet bar into a battlefield? On a humid Friday night in downtown Austin, the Rusty Anchor pub was buzzing with laughter and clinking glasses. Regulars swapped stories, and the jukebox hummed a classic rock tune. But the air shifted when Karen Mitchell, a 45-year-old real estate agent with a penchant for drama, stumbled through the door, already 3 martinis deep from a nearby cocktail lounge. Her eyes were glassy, her voice loud enough to cut through the music. Nobody knew it yet, but the night was about to spiral into chaos. Karen demanded a seat at the crowded bar, shoving past a couple waiting patiently. "I'm a paying customer," she slurred, slamming her purse on the counter. The bartender, Mia, a 23-year-old college student working her way through school, calmly explained the bar was at capacity and offered to find her a spot soon. Karen's face twisted into a scowl. "Do you know who I am?" she snapped, her words dripping with entitlement. Mia, trained to defuse tension, smiled politely and repeated her offer. But Karen wasn't having it. She leaned over the counter, jabbing a finger at Mia. "You're nothing but a lazy, incompetent nobody," she shouted, loud enough for heads to turn. The first glass of half-empty beer hit the floor when Karen swiped it off the counter in a fit of rage, shattering it into 100 pieces. The bar's atmosphere thickened with tension. Patrons whispered, some pulling out phones to record. Mia, shaken but composed, asked Karen to calm down or leave. That's when Karen's fury exploded. She grabbed a bottle of ketchup from a nearby table and squeezed it, splattering red across Mia's apron and the bar's polished wood. "You think you can ignore me?" she screamed, knocking over a tray of drinks. The crash echoed, and a collective gasp rose from the crowd. But Mia wasn't alone. Enter Tony, the bar's burly bouncer, who'd been watching from the corner. He stepped forward, his voice low but firm. "Ma'am, you need to leave now." Karen laughed, a bitter, mocking sound. "You can't touch me. I'll have you all fired," she spat, then shockingly dialed 911 on her phone, claiming she was being assaulted by the staff. The truth began to unravel as Karen's call connected. She painted herself as the victim, her voice trembling with fake tears. "They're ganging up on me. I'm scared for my life," she told the dispatcher, ignoring the stunned silence around her. But Karen didn't know Mia had a quiet ally. Sarah, a soft-spoken regular who'd been sipping her gin and tonic at the bar's end. Sarah, a paralegal with a sharp eye for detail, had been recording the entire ordeal on her phone. Her footage captured every moment Karen's slurs, the ketchup attack, the shattered glass. Sarah slipped her phone to Mia, whispering, "This'll help." Mia nodded, her hands trembling but her resolve firm. She handed the phone to Tony, who queued up the video for when the police arrived. Karen, oblivious, continued her tirade, now accusing the entire bar of discrimination against her for being a successful woman. Sirens wailed outside, and 2 officers stepped into the Rusty Anchor. Karen's face lit up with smug satisfaction, certain her lies had won. "Arrest them," she demanded, pointing at Mia and Tony. "They attacked me." The officers, seasoned and skeptical, asked for her side of the story first. Karen spun a wild tale of being targeted and humiliated. But then Tony stepped forward, holding Sarah's phone. "You might want to see this," he said calmly. The officers watched the video, their expressions hardening as Karen's voice on the recording spewed venom and her hands wreaked havoc. The crowd murmured, some cheering quietly as Karen's confidence faltered. "That's not me," she stammered, but the evidence was undeniable. The officers turned to Mia, who recounted the events with quiet clarity, her voice steady despite the chaos Karen had caused. The confrontation reached its peak as the officers shifted their focus to Karen. "Ma'am, you're under arrest for public intoxication, disorderly conduct, and filing a false police report," one said, pulling out handcuffs. Karen's eyes widened, her bravado crumbling. "You can't do this. I'm the victim," she shrieked, flailing as the cuffs clicked shut. The bar erupted in applause, a release of pent-up frustration. Mia, still wiping ketchup from her apron, exchanged a glance with Tony, who gave her a nod of respect. Sarah, the quiet hero, slipped her phone back into her pocket, her small act of courage shifting the tide. But there was a twist nobody saw coming. As Karen was led out, a man in the crowd, her estranged husband, Mark, stood up. He'd been there the whole time, unnoticed, watching his ex-wife's meltdown. "She does this everywhere," he said to the officers, shaking his head. "I left her because of nights like this." His words hung in the air, a final nail in Karen's facade, exposing her pattern of chaos. Karen's downfall was swift and poetic. As she was escorted to the squad car, her screams faded into the night, drowned out by the bar's returning hum of conversation. The officers took statements from Mia, Tony, and several patrons, all corroborating the video evidence. Karen's lies had collapsed under the weight of truth, her entitlement no match for a community that stood together. Mia, though exhausted, felt a surge of pride. She'd faced a storm and come out stronger. Tony clapped her on the shoulder, and Sarah raised her glass in a quiet toast. The bar slowly returned to its rhythm, but the night left a marked reminder that actions have consequences, and no one is above accountability. By morning, Karen's arrest was the talk of the town. Local news picked up the story, with Sarah's video going viral on social media. The hashtag #KarenAtTheRusty trended, sparking debates about entitlement and justice. Mia, now a local hero, was offered a week off by the bar's owner but chose to work, saying, "This is my place. I won't let her ruin it." Her resilience inspired regulars, who tipped generously and shared their own stories of standing up to bullies. Karen, meanwhile, faced charges and public shame, her real estate business tanking as clients distanced themselves from her toxic reputation. The Rusty Anchor became a symbol of community strength, a place where truth prevailed over chaos. What do you think? Does Karen deserve a second chance? Or should her actions define her fate? Share your thoughts on where justice lies in this story.